Hey guys, welcome back. So at the end of tutorial today, you will be able to build a page like this, which is the home page of the app that we are going to build. And so in the previous two videos, I basically have explained you the functions of the app. And also in the last video, I show you how you can set up your environment in which we learn how to set up the Anaconda and also all the Kivy packages that we need and Kivy Garden. And we actually stop at a page like this in which we run the code to make sure that we get something like this to make sure that all our Kivy packages are running well. And if you are at the same page with me, then congratulations, you make a big step in the beginning. So I'm just going to close this and then if you at this point of time you haven't downloaded my app, I will encourage you to just download it onto your Android phone to play around to make sure that you understand what are the functionalities behind this app, and maybe there are certain things that you specifically want to learn because maybe you are already an expert in making a mobile app but you are stuck with some problem, and this app is going to clear all your questions. So yeah, and then also at the same time I create a buy me a coffee page in which if you like my video, you can in addition to like my video content and subscribe to my channel, you can also contribute a little bit to my channel by buying me a coffee. So this is one way that you can support me and help me to continue to create more and better contents to help me to be able to continue to do the things that I like to do. So if you come to my website learndatascienceskill.com, and I actually create a post in which I listed out all the tutorial content that I'm going to post in the next several weeks. So basically I'm going to create around 32 videos, and today I'm going to explain about tutorial 1, which is creating a home screen like this with Kivy Garden map view, blinker, and a location search dialog. So after that we have navigation drawer, taxi screen, bus stop screen, backdrop, and then map view, list, things like that. So all the way until the bottom of it, we will be able to publish it to your phone and then finally release to the Google Play Store. So feel free to go to my website. I will also put a link in the description below, and you can go through it to be able to understand what we are going to build in each tutorial. And other than that, I have also created a GitHub repository page in which I call it MyTransportApp. So I'm not going to use the same name, which is my SG Transport. That is the name of the app that I have created and published to Google Play Store. But for the tutorial sake, I'm going to call it as MyTransportApp. And in fact, on my in my project folder, I've created MyTransportApp folder. You can actually clone this folder to your computer if you want to, or otherwise you can create your own folder and then follow along. That is okay. And yeah, I think we are ready to start. So back to the code that we have from last week, in which we create a label, a simple label, but I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to clear it. And if you come to my website learndatascienceskill.com, I have in fact every tutorial I'm going to make a web-based version. So tutorial 1 is about all the code that I'm going to put into my script. So the purpose of creating web-based version is so that I don't have to type out every single code. I don't have to waste your time. I want to just focus on explaining the concept behind each functions and the things that I want to do, so that you will be able to learn as much as possible. So in order to build this page, we are going to go through 20 over steps. The first thing that you have to do is to download the Kivy MD from my GitHub repository. So if you go to my GitHub repository, you can actually see the Kivy MD folder. So you can actually git clone this into your computer in order to use the same Kivy MD version as me. Don't actually try to download the Kivy MD from the Kivy MD official GitHub repository, because I have basically modified their version of Kivy MD into my own version of Kivy MD with some additional code. So if you want to follow along with my tutorial, please use my version of Kivy MD to make sure you won't miss out anything. Okay. So well, after downloading the Kivy MD, so after downloading the Kivy MD, we actually need to create a main.py, which we have already created since last week, but we have cleared the content of this main.py. And yeah, the first thing we have to do in the main.py is to create a class called MainApp, in which we want to inherit the MD app from kivymd.app import MD app. So we just copy this and then we put here. So you can see that we actually when we build this app on start, we actually specify the theme on this app. So you can leave it, you don't actually have to specify it in every app that you write, but in this case I want to change the theme of the app to the primary color to be blue gray, and then the strength of the color to be 500, and the style of the theme actually to be light. Nowadays there are a lot of light mode and dark mode on your Facebook or Instagram. So this is kind of like specifying what kind of mood do you want to your theme. So if you want to read more about this, you can go to KivyMD, read the docs. So if you come to here, you can see that there are different kind of theme and different color. And in fact, in one of the tutorials that I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you how you can dynamically change the theme of your app into different color, different mood, and so on. But for the moment, for the sake of doing the first video, you can just follow along. I just set the primary color to be blue gray, the strength of the color to be 500, and then the theme style to be light instead of dark. And at the same time, also specify the window size to be 375 by 750 to make sure that it looks like a real mobile app screen. If I don't specify this, actually when I run it, okay, it's a little bit slow, I don't know why. When I run it, it's looking like something like this, like a window size. But if you are able to specify this, it's going to look like something like this, which looks like the size of your phone, right? So this looks better, right, as we develop the app. But we will need to remove this window.size at the end of the series before we actually build the APK file and install it on our phone. Otherwise, this is going to disturb the size of the app. So okay, now we move on to the step 3, which is create a file called main.kv. So the cool thing about Kivy is that you can actually create the front end with a file extension called main.kv. So and then we're just going to copy this and then paste here before we explain further. So Kivy is a special format of the file that is offered by Kivy, and here you basically define your front end, and Kivy actually do a lot of things behind the .kv format for you. it actually makes your front end looks much better than trying to write in the Python file. So I like to do a lot of front end thing at the .kv because that really makes my life easier. That really handle a lot of front end kind of thing for you, so you don't have to worry about the position, the behavior of the front end. So here what I'm doing is actually define a screen. Inside the screen I have a navigation layout, and then under navigation layout I actually have a screen manager, because later on as we go through the tutorial we are going to have many different screens. So we need a screen manager to be able to manage the screen, so that it actually knows which page, which screen we want to go to. And then we define the size scene and post scene. Size scene is like X and Y. Actually I leave it as the maximum, which is 1 and 1, and then post scene is the position of your screen. And then we have a home screen. We define a home screen in which the name is called home screen and ID is called home screen. Normally I will leave name and ID to be the same to avoid bugs and confusion. So because sometimes we want to use the name, sometimes we want to refer to the ID, so it's better to leave it the same, so that it won't be will have any problem later. So here we want to include a home screen.kv file from a kv folder we haven't created, but we are going to come to that later. So if you follow the step in my tutorial, we are going to create a class in that main app. So this class, if you copy it, then go back to main.py, we are going to create a class here. So this class home screen is actually refer to this. You need to create a class at the main.py that is referred to this home screen. Okay. And after that, we want to create a kv folder. And then inside the kv folder, we want to create a home screen.kv. I think that is specified in the next step. Oh, I think I skipped it already. Let's see. Okay, next step. Create a kv folder, then create a home screen.kv inside the folder. And then this is the script that you want to have inside the home screen.kv. I will just copy everything. Copy and paste. So this is a good thing. I don't have to type out the whole length of the script in front of you to waste your time, which will make the whole video to be 1 hour or 2 hours long. I don't want to do that. I just want to explain to you what is the concept behind each single line of code that I written. So you see from here, I actually define a home screen that is reference to this home screen. And then inside this home screen, I actually can define at each position of the screen what I want to have. So I define at the beginning of the home screen I want to have a toolbar. So this toolbar is wait a minute. This toolbar, where are you going today? This is the MD Toolbar that I want to write. So and then you have a magnifying glass here. So write action item to be a magnify icon, and then when you click on it, it's going to call a function called search menu. App is referring to the main.py. So when we say app here, it's going to look for a search menu function in the main.py and then call it to open. We actually haven't defined a search menu function yet, but we are going to come to that later. But for the moment, we just define the front end first, like this. So we can actually specify a color of the toolbar to be same as the primary color of our theme. So this one is going to refer app.theme class is going to refer to the theme class that we define at the main app, and then position hint and size hint. So when you use float layout, it's actually let you use a position and size hint in the the component that you define. So this is the mother, and MD Toolbar is a child of the float layout. So when you define a float MD Toolbar under a float layout, you can actually define the position hint and size hint of the MD Toolbar. So you can define where do I want to have the pause hint. I'm actually not defining this one as 1 because at this highest position, I actually want to have something else. So this one, I want to have a navigation drawer here, which I'm going to show you in the next tutorial. That's why I leave it empty here. That's why I'm defining this MD Toolbar to start from 0.895. So, and the sizing is 1, and then Y is 0.1. And then after that, I want to have a map view. So this map view, we are going to use a map view from Kivy Garden. And that's why I define a home map view here. And then the ID is map view. So you can see that I actually include the home map view.kv, which I haven't created. But I'm going to create it later. So the map view that we define is going to be positioned here. This position 0.795 of the home screen, and then it's going to take up 69.5% of the screen, and the ID is map view. It's important to define a map view ID here because we are going to use it very often in terms of defining the position of the map view, where you want to center, and so on. So after that, we can define a grid layout. The grid layout is something like we can define it as one row of grid layout. Inside the grid layout, we can put as many components as we want. Here I'm going to put 5 components, 5 label buttons. Then they are going to align themselves within that one row of grid. So if you come back to my post, you can see that I define a taxi, bus, label button, MRT, LRT, traffic, and parking. So I'm going to have 5 label buttons here. So this 5 label button, I can put the text, and then I actually define canvas dot before, which refer to the color this canvas behind the text. So I actually say here that the color of this canvas should be the same as the primary color of the app, but when the state is normal, which means that when you didn't click it, it's going to have the same color as the primary color of the app. But then when you click it, it's going to change the color to this hex code. So you can put any other hex code that you want to have, but then at this point of time, I'm just putting this hex code in rectangle size and pause is self.size and self.pause, so that when you change the size of the app, right, it's going to dynamically change the size of this rectangle. Yeah, I hope I explained it enough for that. It's for dynamic size changing purpose and position changing purpose of the canvas. Markup to true, and then on release, which means that when you click on this button, when you release it, it's going to call a function called change screen on the main.py, which the screen name is called taxi screen, and then direction is right, mode is push. So we are going to define this change screen function later, in which it will push the screen from the right side to the center. Okay. So for the rest of it, I just duplicate 4 more times for different types of function like bus, MRT, LRT, and then bus, actually I define direction to be push up, and MRT, LRT push down, and then incident push up, and then the last one will be the parking screen, in which I want it to push from the left to the center. So next thing, we want to create a spatial buttons.py to be able to use these label buttons. Otherwise it won't work. So we actually want to create a spatial buttons.py, and then we are going to copy this and put here. So this spatial buttons consists of label button and image button. They are going to inherit the button behavior, and the label button is going to inherit the label so that you can define the text. inside the button, and the image button is going to inherit the image so that you can define the image that you want to have on that button. Okay. Next one, I at the main.py we add the following. So probably I put it, let's see, here. Okay. So we create a special buttons. Of course, we want to import it to the main.py so that the rest of the screen can use it. And then we also want to have the screen manager, which we define here. We also want to import it. And why we are importing no transition and cut transition? Because next we are going to define a change screen function under the main.py. So just going to copy this, and then under here we are going to put this function. So this change screen function is the change screen function that I have used several times here, app.changeScreen, and then we are going to bring the argument of what screen is it, what is the direction, and what is the mood. So this change screen function is going to take those arguments, screen name, direction, and mood, and then depends on whether the direction is specified or not. If it is not specified, okay, then there will be no transition. You will not see a transition on your screen. But then if you put the direction, it's going to show you that, for example, if you put the mode to be push and then direction to be, for example, direction to be right, it's going to push the screen from the left to the right side, to the center of your screen. Okay. So the next thing that we also define here is that if your screen name is home screen, we want to change the self.root.id. So self.root.id is referring to, self is referring to this main app, the app itself. .root, root is referring to title name. So we actually haven't defined the title. So we actually haven't defined this, the title and the navigation drawer. But in the next tutorial, I'm going to explain to you. But for the moment, I think we can leave it as is. It's going to change the title name, the title of this page into SG Transport. Well, if you don't understand at this moment, just leave it. I promise you I'm going to explain further in the next tutorial. So yeah. So now we have the change screen function. In the next one, we want to create a Home Mapview.py. So in the home screen, we want to have a home map view. Definitely we want to have a home mapview.py. So what I'm going to do is home mapview.py, and we are going to copy this class from Kivy Garden.mapview import mapview, and then we will have a class called home mapview. And the next thing is we want to also create a home mapview.kivy. Copy this. And then paste it. So in this home front end of Kivy file of the home map view, this is going to refer to this class. So at the front end, we define the latitude and the longitude of this map view. When you instantiate this map view, it's going to focus on this latitude and longitude. You can put, actually this is Orchard, one of the town of Singapore. The longitude of Orchard Central. So I just put it, when you start the app, it's going to focus on that point. And we specify the zoom level. The smaller the zoom level, the more far away it's going to be from the map. So double tap zoom equal to true. So that means when you double tap, the map view screen is going to zoom inside the map, and then when you zoom in, into the map view, the maximum that you can zoom is 12. Okay, because when you zoom less than 12, it's going to default back to 12 here. Okay, but then you can always zoom out. All right, I hope this I explain clearly on this one. And then we actually define a blinker inside your map view. We want to show the position of yourself inside the map view. So this one is going to blink. We're going to define this blinker later on in the other Python file and Kivy file. So what I want to explain to you is that in this map view, you can actually put the blinker, which is another class that you create in another file. So that's why we can import the GPS blinker here from a GPS blinker.py file, and then we actually put this widget here. Okay, and then we define the latitude and longitude of this blinker to follow your route. Route is the home map view latitude and longitude. But this one we are going to remove it later when we build the app into APK file before we deploy it to your phone, because the GPS on your phone is going to define for you what is the latitude and longitude of your GPS blinker, not following the map view latitude and longitude. Okay, but we define here for the sake of showing you when you build on the window. Right, and then next we create a GPS blinker.py. Paste it. Okay, so this GPS blinker will have two functions. All right, the first function is that it's going to blink, and then it's going to reset. So we want to use the animation function when it blink, right? It should change the outer opacity to be 0, and then the blink size to be 50, and then it's going to after it blink, it's going to reset, so that it's going to call this function when it is complete. When it's fully blink, the process is complete, and then it's going to call a self.reset function. This reset function is going to change the outer capacity to 1, and then it's going to change the blink size to the default blink size, and then it's going to repeat because it's going to call the blink function again. Okay, and then after that we want to create a GPS blinker.kivy. Copy GPS blinker.kivy. Oh, I actually didn't save all of this. You need to save it. Save. Okay, paste it. So this is the front end of the GPS blinker inside the Kivy file. So I define the default blink size to be 25. When it blinks, it will go to 50, and then when you reset, it's going to come back to 25, which is half of the size of 50. Okay, and this is the source, which is the image of the blinker. So here we actually define the outer circle and the inner circle. We define their color, and then we actually form this circle by defining a rectangle with the rounded a radius. So we define the radius to be root. Root is referring to the GPS blinker, blink size divided by 2, and then the size is root.blink size. Position is a root.pose plus root.size. Well, this one is not so important. It's actually difficult to explain. It's a little bit more on the designing the blinker. And so yeah, I think you can just copy this. Yeah, it will work. So basically what we are doing here is just defining outer circle and inner circle of the blinker. Okay. So when you have the home map view, which inside have the blinker, we are done with the home map view, and then we are done with the home screen for the map view portion. And then now we want to import it to the main.py, and then after that we want to define the current latitude and longitude to be this one, same as the home screen. Yeah, in the home map view define this, and then at the main app we also define this. So why I'm defining here for the current latitude and longitude is because later on as we go through the tutorial we are going to create a lot of map view, and those map view as you change from one screen to the other, you want the next map view center location to follow the previous map view latitude and longitude. So for example, you are at the home map view, and then when you change to bus stop map view, you don't want to have a different location between two map view. Alright, so you want the next map view to follow the same map view latitude and longitude of the previous map view. So now we are done with the MD Toolbar and also the map view. Actually, we can try to run the app and see what's happening. It's taking a little bit of time, be patient. Okay, so now we have something like this, but you see we can zoom in and out. Okay, but we are not done yet. Something that we have to change. So you see we need to save the GPS blinker.kv and then try to run it again. Okay, now you see this one is actually not blinking because we need to have another Python file to call this blinker to start to blink. So we call that as the GPS helper, which we are going to create next. So whoa. But before we come to GPS helper, we want to actually create this, we settle this magnifying glass first. So when you click on it, it's going to fail at this moment because we haven't defined a function called search menu. So at the main.py we want to define a function called search menu. So this search menu is going to call this search pop-up menu.py. So we are going to create this search pop-up menu.py here. .py. And then inside the search pop-up menu.py we can copy all this. Okay. So what is happening here is that when you click the magnifying glass, when you click this, it's going to have a pop-up menu, input dialog. It's going to pop up something, and then the title of this dialog is going to search by address. It's going to ask you to search the address that you want to focus, and then there will be a button with the text or search. So you can type in your address, okay, and then when you click search, right, the thing that you type, right, the title, is going to be stored inside this text field variable, And then we're going to extract out the text of this variable into an address, another variable called address. So we're going to pass this address to a function called Geocoder GridLayout. So this Geocoder GridLayout, what it's going to do is it's going to based on the address that you type in, is going to pass the address, and then it's going to pass to this URL request. So what this URL request is doing is Geocoder URL, Geocoder. Well, I think I need to show you. So this is an API provided by this Geocoder developer. You can sign up of your own developer account in order to have an API key in order to use this function. So what happened is I have already created an account and I have already the API key. So I created API key _.py, but I'm not going to show you what's inside because that consists of my private API key. So go ahead and register account with this Geocoder, and then you're going to get an API key. And then after that, you can actually create an API key _.py that inside you define that API key underscore is equal to your API key. So you change your API key under the code. Don't replace the code. So replace your API key with your own API key. All right. So then we import the API key from your API key.py in order to be able to use it here. Okay. Then we are going to call a request. We request to this URL, and then when we are successful, we are going to call this function. So this self.success is going to get the result of your API call. It's going to get something like this, the information. So when I put in, if I search orchard, it's going to get all this information related to the orchard. So it's going to get something like latitude and longitude of the address that you type, and then it's going to get a lot of other things, but latitude and longitude is one of the things that it's trying to get. And then it's going to pass it to my variable here, latitude and longitude, and then I'm going to call my map view. So I define the app is equal to app.getRunningApp. So when I am at the other Python file and then I want to refer back to my main.py, I can always say app.getRunningApp, and then this app, the root ID of the app. So app.root.id is referring to this ID, home screen. This is my root. This is the ID under my root. So I will have a home screen, and then inside my home screen, I have a map view. So you see, I can refer to the map view file from here by going through the main.py. So app.root.homescreen.id.mapview is referring to the map view inside the home screen. Okay, so map view.center on latitude and longitude. So when I get my latitude and longitude, the map view is going to center on that position. So the whole process is like when you key in, for example, orchard, it's going to search your request for the latitude and longitude, and then it's going to center on that latitude and longitude. If the address, what if the address that you key in doesn't actually exist, or you can't actually find anything related to the thing that you're looking for? It's going to pop up a snack bar such that it will tell you address not found, please try other address. Okay, so to use this snack bar, we are going to import the Kivy MD URX snack bar, and then we also need a window, and then we also need the Kivy.matrix. Okay, and what if your URL request fail? Then it's going to show you error, but this one is not actually so important. Okay, and API key we have done. So under the main app, we want to say search menu is none. Just wait here, and then under the on start, we want to instantiate the search pop-up menu. Okay, and then under the main.py we want to import the search pop-up menu. Well, let's define it here. And then finally we want to have something that call the GPS blinker to blink. We call it home GPS helper.py. So let's copy this and create this file. And then let's copy everything here. So yeah, I'm going to explain this through to you, but the whole concept of map view, the blinker, here, in fact, I learned it from a guy called Eric Sambert. I think you can find his name on the YouTube channel. So I learned a lot of things about this map view and the blinker from him, and a lot of code related to the map view I actually learned from him. So I want to give the credit to him. Thanks for him to allow me to build an app with a lot of map view functions. So I extend his work, and then I build a full mobile app, which we are going to learn later on. And we define a class Home Mapview helper, and then when this Home Mapview we call it to run, right, it's going to refer to the app.getRunningApp, which is the main.py root.id.homescreen. So we refer to the home screen. In the home screen we have the map view ID, and then under the map view we have the GPS blinker. So what is happening is that we refer to the home screen, then refer to the map view, and then inside the map view we actually have this blinker. So we're actually referring to this blinker. So we call this blinker to start to blink. So this blinker is going to start to blink, and then reset, blink, and reset. Okay, and then after that we say that if the platform, so you need to from Kivy utils import platform. The platform is referring to the operating system of your phone. So this few lines of code doesn't work on the window because the platform is not Android. But then when you install on your phone, right, it's going to detect that you are using Android, and then it's going to ask for permission from Android to be able to access to the GPS locations. So if you require permission to access to the location of the user. Okay, so when this one is successful, right, when we get the permission, right, your GPS is going to turn on, and then it's going to check the location of based on the GPS of your phone. When successful, it's going to call the update blinker position. So this update blinker position is going to take the latitude and longitude from your GPS, and then we define my latitude and longitude is going to equal to quads lat and quads long. So quads and arcs, I'm going to explain a little bit more in my tutorial later, but for now, quads is for something that come with a key and value. Arcs is only for a bunch of values. So yeah, maybe I can, yeah. So what this update blinker position is going to pass a lot of values to this update blinker position function, and then when we take the quads, we are referring to the key, the latitude key and the longitude key inside this quads, and then assigning it to my latitude and longitude. And then I want my GPS blinker to the position of my blinker to be the latitude and longitude, to be at the latitude and longitude of my GPS. Okay, so when you look on your screen, it's going to show the actual location of where you are right now. So if your map view is not centered to the blinker, okay, because initially we define it as false, so definitely when you are on the map view page, this one is going to be not false is equal to true. Then it's going to call the map view, and the map view is going to center on your current latitude or longitude. Okay, and then it's going to change this one to true. Okay, so we also want to set the current latitude and longitude on the main.py. So app.getRunningApp is referring to the main.app, net.py, we're going to change this latitude and longitude to be something else. We're going to change it to the latitude and longitude of your actual GPS location, so that when you switch to other map view page, it's going to be the same at the same location as the previous map view page. Otherwise, you don't want to have different location at different map view page. Okay. So when we change this one, and then the rest of the map view page can access to it. Okay. All right. So it's going to give you so when you are authenticated, if the status is okay, when it's possible is when it actually detects that your GPS is on, it's going to be okay. But then if not, it is going to open up a pop-up menu and say that you have a GPS error. You will need to enable the GPS access for this app to function properly. So this is actually kind of running out a dialog and alert the user to actually turn on the GPS. Okay. Under the map.py, I want to import this GPS helper, and then under the onStart, I want to call this GPS helper to run. Okay. So below is how the main.py looks like. So I think we are done, and then we can just go ahead and run this. Oops, I forgot to save this. So you see that now we have the blinker to be blinking. It looks big at this point of time because the screen size is not the same screen size as your phone. So we are kind of like a much smaller screen. So that's why your blinker actually looks quite big. But then when it's on your phone, don't worry, it looks just nice on the map view. Okay. So when we click this, it will have a search by address. If I say I want to go to Jurong East, Singapore, search. So it's going to focus on Jurong East. Okay. So if I search something that doesn't exist, right? Boon Lay search. It's going to say address not found, please try other addresses. Okay, and then you can see that we don't have anything in our response. Okay, so yeah, I think my video is already around 47 minutes. It's quite a long tutorial. I want to end here, and then in the next tutorial we're going to build the title and the navigation drawer. And I hope you like the video. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.